You're welcome.
Hey, Mama. How you doing?
We're right at the cusp of 4 o'clock, and with the permission of the convener, Excellency Professor Onwuliri, LKSJ, the Minister Emeritus of Foreign Affairs and Education in Nigeria, and my loving mother. I want to, on behalf of her, the convener of this special lecture series and lecture in memoriam of our doting father and of course her loving husband and grandfather, leader, uncle, mentor, and professor and community leader, who we lost in the sad event of June 2nd, 2012. We continue to remember this day, a special day, because Prof stood for everything positive about advancing development, education, and the well-being of the community as a whole, and even beyond the community to the states and the country. And he was on national assignment when that event occurred. It's on the strength of his legacy and the life that he lived, and of course his idea to start the Professor Onwuliri Foundation while he was alive, that we have continued this legacy, and we are happy to reconvene once more despite the difficulties of this year with the COVID-19 pandemic. We are happy to be here through another means to achieve the objective of continuing in his legacy. So it's a wonderful day all over the world, and I want to welcome everybody who has joined us today. We have a lot of distinguished personalities who are here with us. We also have a lot of support from key partners from all around the world, who are also working with the Professor Onwuliri Foundation Profound to bring this special memorial lecture, 8th memorial lecture, to all and sundry. I want to start by introducing some of the key persons and mentioning some of the key partners that we have. Most importantly, we have the chairman of the occasion, by the name of Professor Epifani Azinge. Prof has been so wonderful, and Prof has joined us even before, of course, the 4 o'clock. He's been here. He's been throughout the preparation and all the planning. He's been with us. So Prof, we want to welcome you. Prof is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's a national awardee of the Office of the Order of the Niger, and he's also an electoral judge of the Commonwealth Arbitral Tribunal in London, and he's very grounded here in Nigeria as the President General of the Asaba Development Union worldwide. So Professor Celestine Azinge, we know this is just a super summary of the colossus that you are, but we want to thank you very much for joining us today and agreeing to share this occasion, and we thank and appreciate you. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir. We also have a number of other important persons who are here with us. Because of time, we will also just call through these personalities quickly. So I will leave the keynote speaker for last, because he would take over once we are done with the introduction and other aspects of our program. So we have also with us, what we're talking about today is related to development to young persons, to new media, or what we call social media, and to some of the new things, new tools that we are using that weren't available 20, 30 years ago. So we have a youth ambassador with us, some policy analyst. He's a very special person at home, especially in most states. He's Akwarandu Ike. I call him Akwarandu AIC. Akwarandu is he used to be, or he is, the special assistant, senior special assistant to the governor emeritus of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha. He is very savvy new media user and actor. He is an influencer on social media, and one of the emerging voices in that space in the Southeast. And he's also the executive director of Focal Digital Media. So it's also good to say that. We also have joining us. You're welcome, Ike. We also have joining us His Royal Majesty Igwe Nnemeka Achebe, who is the royal father of today. He's the Obi of Onitsha, and he is also a very So we welcome His Royal Majesty. We also have Dame Iyom Josephine Aneni, who is the president of Nkata Ndi Iyom Igbo. She's the mother of the day, and we welcome her as well. We also have His Lordship, Most Reverend Professor J. Honor, who is the Catholic Bishop of Nsukka Diocese, and who will be the father of the day today. Also joining us are many of our key partners. We have Dr. Judy Homer, who is the senior and technical coordinator and also director of the Mbise Policy Roundtable, the NPR, and he has been wonderful. He's put together the entire Zoom platform that we are using today. So you can see that new media cuts across all ages and all professions. He's a medical doctor, and we appreciate him. We also have joining us Professor Binika Agulana at LSM. She is an academician and professor at the Imo State University, and one-time dean of both education and student Affairs in that university. We also have the former Inspector General of Police, Dr. Mike Okiro of the KSJ International. He's very well known in the country for the roles he played as an IG of police, and also leading the Police Service Commission, which he only recently handed over. And we have Chief Sir Na Wodo, KSJ as well, who is President General of Ohaneze and Igbo. He needs no introduction. Of course, Ohaneze is the overarching body of all Igbo societies and organizations. They oversee all that we do. In addition, we have other persons, the editor-in-chief of elomba.com joining us, and we also have Dr. Victor Chilaka, who is also specifically of the international liaison of Mbise Indigenous. They are a very important partner to the Professor Onwuliri Foundation. They started working with us. We set up a scholarship for university undergraduates in Nigeria in honor of Professor Onwuliri, and that scholarship has been going on now for almost about half a decade. So we appreciate you, and we welcome you, Dr. Victor Chilaka. Yes. We have many other distinguished personalities, and as I said, I will keep the best for last. I would like to do the first summary or cursory introduction of our guest speaker, who is a great leader and a great scholar as well. He's none other than Professor Prince Eddie Okoroji. His profile says that he's a US-based biopharma executive, but Prof goes beyond that title. Prof wears so many hats. Prof is a very active community mobilizer. He's a very ardent, supporter of good governance causes around the world, and he's also one of the key arrowheads of the democracy that we have today and enjoy today in Nigeria, being a former fourth leading person of the Nadeko movement. So Prof is also an awardee of Profound, the Professor Onwuliri Foundation, one of the maiden awardees, and he will be our guest speaker today. He has a range of experience across various platforms, and the media, etc., and various industries as well. He's trained as a pharmacist, but of course, he's currently in the corporate world of the pharmacy, of the pharmaceutical industry today. So, Prof, you're welcome. We thank you for accepting to give this lecture. Prof is also, of course, a member of the family, and we're very proud of you, sir. So thank you very much. So quickly, we want to especially appreciate all and everyone who have come in or who have logged onto this special 8th and first Zoom online memorial lecture of Professor C.O. Onwuliri. We want to especially also recognize members of the family. We want to recognize the younger brother of Professor Onwuliri, who is Professor Festus Onwuliri. He's also on the call. We want to also appreciate other members of the family. Dr. Edward Onwuliri is also on the call, and many others are here as well. All the Onwuliris are here. I also want to appreciate my brothers and sisters who are also here. I can see my elder brother who is on the call as well. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I would like to quickly move on with the items on the agenda. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. Dr. Chinemerem Daniel Onwuliri. I'm a medical doctor practicing in Enugu, Nigeria. And I'm also happy to be here today to serve as moderator of this lecture. we hope to have a very engaging session where we'll start with, we'll do, after these preliminaries, we'll have the opening prayer, and after the opening prayer, we'll quickly move on to get a few remarks from our most distinguished chairman, after which we will give a little background, or get a little background from the convener, who is the Honorable Minister Emeritus, and we'll proceed to talk about the foundation, and the lecture will hold on. These will take a few minutes. Then we will now dovetail into the main business of the day, which is the lecture. So we would have Dr. Judy Homer doing a little introduction of the detailed profile of. Please, we beg all of us to listen in. There will be room for questions and answers, and also contributions as well. It's always nice to mute your call if you want to have a side conversation while we are with an opening prayer, which is customary in Igbo land. So we'll invite Opera Prof. Celestine Onwuliri to give us a word of prayer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Lord and our God, we thank and praise you for the gift of life. We thank and praise you for the gift of family. We thank and praise you for the gift of being here to have this lecture. We thank and praise for everyone who has come in. We ask you to bless us, bless everyone here, bless our families, our jobs, our livelihoods, and bless our country, Nigeria. And bless the Igbo man, the Igbo nation, the Mbisi nation, and each and every one of us. And we pray that we continue to survive in this pandemic, continue to survive in this nation, and we'll continue to survive in everything we do. That will always have a cause to glorify your holy name. All this we ask through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory to Jesus, honor to Mary.
Thank you very much, Opera Muhi, Celestine Onwuliri, for the prayer. That was very important. So now that we have called on God to direct our affairs, we will move on to invite in a special way the chairman of today's occasion, Professor Epiphany Azinge, who is also a Sir of the Knights of St. John International, and a senior advocate of Nigeria, and of the etc. So, Prof, you're welcome. You have the floor to go ahead. Thank you.
Very much. Let me start with the protocols. The Royal Majesty Igwe Nemeka Chebe, Abogidi Obi of Onitsha and Royal Father of the Day. The Father of the Day and our Father in the Lord, Most Reverend PG Honor, Catholic Bishop of Onitsha, Nsukka Diocese. The Mother of the Day, Iyon Josephine Anini. Our great and erudite guest speaker, Professor Prince Edi Oparaji, an international scholar and human rights activist. Our special guests of honor, Senator Enyinaya Baribe, Minority Leader of the Senate, Chief Sir John Onyanwodo, the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Sir Dr. Mike Okiro, former Inspector General of Police, also Knight of St. John, Professor Lady Gineka Gunlana, former Dean of Education in Su, Tim Elomba, Editor-in-Chief Elomba & Co., Dr. Judy Homer, Chief Program Director on the State Policy Roundtable. Our convener, Her Excellency Professor Lady Viola Onwuliri, former Supervising Minister of Foreign Affairs. Akwarandu Policy Analyst and New Media Consultant. Our dear moderator, Dr. Chinemere Onwuliri, and other members of late Professor Celestine Onwuliri Foundation. Our esteemed participants and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed highly humbled by the invitation to chair the 8th Professor Celestine Onwuliri Memorial Lecture titled, The Role of Social Media in Human Capacity Development and in the Development of Igbo Land. My review of the last 7 memorial lectures shows a consistent high standard of scholarly exposition and cross-cutting analysis of issues that are designed to impact our nation and our people positively. Permit me to commend our convener, Her Excellency, Professor Viola Onwuliri, and other members of the late Professor Sir Celestine Onwuliri Foundation, Profound, for establishing the foundation, nurturing it, and sustaining the objectives for which the foundation was established. Late Professor Sir Celestine Onwuliri, KSJI, was well known to many of us. Here was a man whose enduring accomplishments span across different and varying spheres of human endeavor. He was an academic giant, administrative colossus, visionary leader, a noble knight of St. John's International, a devoted Catholic of notable spirituality, a man of the people whose footprints remain indelible in our landscape, a great family man, an illustrious son of Igbo land, and a highly patriotic Nigerian. Professor Onwuliri now belongs to the history of Nigeria and has a place therein that shall abide.
I think we may have lost Prof momentarily due to the network. He will be back on again. So let's sort out the technical challenge with the call. Okay, I think he's back on. So while we're waiting for Prof to come on, just to go over what we have on, after Prof is through with the opening remarks as the chairman, we would proceed to introduce the guest lecturer and proceed with the lecture in a couple of minutes. So, but of course, remember that this is Zoom. Zoom has made life a bit possible and easier, but there will always be 1 or 2 challenges, especially as we hash out 3, 4G, 5G, and beyond. So we also appeal for your understanding. Yes. So I think
I'm back.
Prof, you're welcome.
Thank you. I'm sorry for that. Hello?
Go on, Prof. Yes, Prof, go ahead, Prof.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that intervention. Please,
that's right.
I was saying that Professor Onwuliri now belongs to the history of Nigeria and has a place therein that shall abide for all time. Whatever the criterion Professor Onwuliri was a great man and has an abiding place in the history of this nation. In the public life of Nigeria, Professor Onwuliri was an example of conscientiousness, thoroughness, complete devotion to duty, and above all, the highest standard of integrity. His mental power and fertility, the sheer quality of his personality and intellectual drive impressed itself on all those who came in contact with him. So today we are gathered to celebrate this outstanding scholar by this memorial lecture. I have no doubt that our guest speaker, by virtue of his intimidating credentials, is eminently equipped to treat us to an intellectual feast. On behalf of the convener and profound, I want to welcome our royal father of the day, our father in the Lord, our mother of the day, our special guests of honor, and indeed all participants that have joined to give honor to an eminent son of Africa and a citizen of the world. Let me hope that in the course of our conversation, there will be enough time for participants to weigh in and make necessary interventions on the subject matter. I wish us a very wonderful conversation and a fruitful outcome. May the soul of Professor Sir Celestine Onwuliri continue to rest in perfect peace. May his memory be a blessing. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Azinge, for the wonderful opening remarks. We continue to appreciate you for how you have eulogized and given a lot of insight into Prof. Late Dad. Without wasting any further time or ado, we will proceed to invite Dr. Judy Homer, who is Director of the Mbise Policy Roundtable, to introduce, give us the profile of our guest speaker, Professor Eddie Oporoji, so that we can also proceed with the business of the day. Thank you, sir. Dr. Judy, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Again, I welcome greetings and I welcome everybody to the 8th Professor C.O.E. Onwuliri Memorial Lecture today. I will stand on the existing protocol that has been well established by our chairman, our professor, who is a distinguished chairman. So I will stand on the protocol that we have eloquently established. My name is Dr. Judy Homer, and I'm the Chief Program Director of Mbise Policy Roundtable, of which our guest speaker, Professor Edward Oporoji, is our able chairman. MPR is the premier eminent Mbise Policy Round Policy and Business Council, entirely focused on the development of Mbise, which our late brother, Professor Onwuliri's life really exhibited throughout his life. I don't need to read all professors' profile. I think he's known. But I have to say that not only that he's a pharmacy professor emeritus, everybody knows that he's an international scholar. He's an executive here in the United States with the pharmaceutical companies. But most importantly, he is a fearless advocate for the human rights. He fights like a lion and has a heart of a lamb. And I'm happy and honored to be his friend and call him his friend. So Professor Oporoji, I'm very, very happy to be your friend, to fight along with you because you are a trusted brother and a friend. So I am pleased, join me in welcoming our 2020 guest speaker to the 8th Professor CEO Onwuliri's Memorial Lecture, Professor Prince Edward Oporoji.
Prof, unmute yourself.
Thank you. We all have to get used to Zoom sometime in our lifetime. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ihoma. I want to say thank you also to the moderator. Thank you very much, the convener, for this rare opportunity and honor to be the guest presenter in this very, very prestigious occasion. I want to also say thank you to the chairman for a very eloquent introduction that will definitely, I'm sure, because of the limited time we have, a whole lot more can be said in addition. But at this point in time, I will say that I also stand on existing protocol in recognizing the wealth and breadth of the headliners in this conference, as well as all the attendees. The topic we have today is something that I believe also plays squarely into the mindset and how Professor Onwuliri, lived his life. He is not somebody that gives to excuses. Professor Onwuliri believes that you ought to be at any point in time be able to take control of your destiny. And if you knew him when he was alive, there is nothing that you will bring to Professor Onwuliri and say, hey, can you do this? Do you have the expertise to do this? And he'll tell you, no, he doesn't do that. Rather, he will go back, work at it, and when he comes back to you with a response, you will know that he really is somebody who does not take imperfection at all. So today, what we are trying to do is look at the environment we found ourselves and see what can we as individuals and what can we as a people do to make sure that the environment that we find ourselves do not crush us for lack of preparedness. So this topic today is something that is very germane and very, very dear to some of our lives.
My name, say my name, they come out.
Now, the topic of today, like I said, the role of social media in human capacity development. Is there a way to mute everybody so that...
you are speaking now.
And then you can just unmute me.
Prof, unmute yourself.
Okay. So the topic of today is the role of social media in human capacity development and the development of Igbo land. Like I started saying, even though the concept of social media cannot be said to be an entirely new phenomenon, it is apt to say that in the 21st century, it has become the most important technological innovation that has shaped human interaction and communication. In our age and time, the social media, or what many may call the new media, has become significantly revolutionized in such a way that social relations, not just among individuals, but also among communities, have been tremendously impacted. The social media, the use of social media has skyrocketed over the past decade and a half. Whereas only 5% of adults in the United States reported using social media in the platform in 2005, that number now hovers around 70%. And among the teenagers, it's even much higher, hovers around 81%. And more than a third reports that they use even social media sites multiple times an hour, not just the multiple sites an hour. So it's a very prevalent mode of communication among the youths. These statistics have risen dramatically over the past 6 years, likely driven by increased access to mobile devices, growth in the number of people who use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, and other social media platforms, and the time spent on them has garnered interest and concern among policymakers, teachers, parents, clinicians about the impact of social media in our lives. That said, it's even more compelling when you look at the fact that Facebook, the largest social media platform in the world, has about 2.4 billion users. In 2020, over 3.6 billion people were using social media worldwide. The number projected to increase to almost 4.41 billion in 2025. These are huge numbers, especially when juxtaposed with the world population of about 7.7 billion people. No wonder one will realize and say for sure that no matter what anyone thinks, unless you probably are so naive about it, the social media has changed the world. We live in this world, and we definitely have to know how to navigate in it. The rapid and vast adoption of these technologies is changing how we access information, connect with friends and families, and how we organize to demand social and political changes. One is persuaded to assume that the rapid revolution and evolution of the social media may have been driven not just by the rapid advances in digital technology, but more by the compelling need of man to communicate in a more efficient and effective way and in real time. It is this capacity of the social media to effectively and efficiently mediate communication in real time that has recalibrated its impact on human capacity development, as well as the development of communities. In real terms, the social media is a form of mass media. The Merriam-Webster dictionary has defined this form of mass media as forms of electronic communication through which users create online communities to share information, ideas, personal messages, and other contents such as videos. As stated earlier, common social media platforms include Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, and Twitter. If you're on this call and you don't know any of this, you're in trouble. Many perspectives have been evoked on how this form of communication has transformed human capacity and development in our time. On one side are those suggesting that the social media has done more harm than good because of the difficulty in regulating its content. However, there are those who argue that the social media has stimulated human capacity development and therefore can drive the development of any society, including the Igbo land. Thus, the aim of my presentation here today is to explore the role of the social media in human capacity development from the standpoint of using such internet-based avenues of information exchange, news, knowledge, and skills in capacity building, and also how this capacity can be deployed in the development of the Igbo homeland. In doing this paper will attempt to establish a nexus between the application of social media and development. A little bit overview on what is actually human capacity development. The question of societal development has always been linked to the painstaking harmonization of the inherent capacities of people living in that society. Relying on the assumption, scholars have argued that from the dawn of history, individuals and communities have always tried to drive their development process by identifying, developing, and utilizing the various capabilities of its people for sustainable development. What this means is that different people in society have different capacities which must be harnessed for the overall benefit of that society. In truth, in whatever form we contextualize the development process of society, the end point always is to meet the expectation of the people in terms of enhancing the standard of living and helping to drive the development process. Put into proper perspective, the foregoing indicates that effective human capacity development is the engine room of progressive development. In other words, when we talk about the development of any society, we are not merely talking about structures. We are basically referring to the progressive realization of the capacities, abilities, and talents of each individual in that society for their own satisfaction and enhancement of the good of the community at large. The implication of this is that no society can ignore the continuous improvement of the skills, knowledge base, education, competencies, and the strategic alignment of its people, communities, businesses, and other institutions to national development without a concerted effort to effective human capacity building and development. This is a synchronon for an all-round sustainable development. So what is capacity building or capacity development? Capacity building or capacity development can be defined as a process by which individuals and organizations obtain, improve, and retain the skills, knowledge, tools, equipment, and other resources needed to do their job competently. Such capacity building or development gives individual members of the society the latitude to perform their tasks with greater efficiency and capacity. According to the UNDP, capacity building is the creation of an enabling environment with appropriate policy and legal frameworks, individual development, including community participation, human resources development, and the strengthening of managerial systems. It is the elements that give fluidity, flexibility, functionality of a community to adapt to changing needs of the population that it serves. On its own, the Ford Foundation has also defined capacity building as a process of developing and strengthening the skills, instincts, abilities, processes, and resources that organizations and communities need to survive, adapt, and thrive in the fast-changing world. Basically, capacity building encompasses all aspects of awareness raising, education and training, attitude change, confidence building, participation in decision-making, and action. A critical goal of human capacity development is that of maximizing people's potential to contribute to development by participating fully in all its activities. Through capacity building, individuals and groups are empowered to expand their abilities to fully participate in the development process. So now, how does this all fit into what we're talking about in the development of Igbo land? In the earlier sections of this talk, I defined capacity building or capacity development as expanding one's existing level of knowledge, skill, and information to accommodate current and future adjustment needs. We argued that capacity building involves strengthening the knowledge base, abilities, skills, and behavior of individuals, and improving institutional structures and process in such a way that individuals, organizations, and communities can efficiently meet their aspirations and goals in a sustainable manner. If the foregoing assertions are relied upon, then we can state categorically that the social media and its associated internet-based frontiers can be effectively deployed in the development process of any community, including the Igbo land. It is in this connection that we can talk about the social media as an agency for the development of Igbo homeland. There is no doubt that several groups, communities, organizations have leveraged on the positive sides of the social media in their development process. And the essence of our discussion today is to explore ways that we can deploy the social media in the development of our own political and social space. It is given that Igbo people are very enterprising with the capacity to make something out of nothing. The Igbo are the only group in Nigeria that has the capacity to invest and create a home outside the Igbo homeland. The Igbo may be accused of being fiercely individualistic, but nobody can deny their creativity, industry, and ingenuity. So that said, social media can be used for the development of Igbo land in the following ways. Let's take education. Given the Igbo enterprising and innovative spirit, a structured application of social media can be impactful on education development. For example, distant and online learning and exchange of information have so blossomed that many seem to think that everything in education is now possible through internet, and maybe it is, if well structured strategically. It has become fashionable for scholars and academics to share research experiences, ideas, and professional information through these avenues, be they open access or password-required platforms. The Igbo intelligentsia can leverage on this for technological development of Igbo land. The speed and reach of this media and the comfort of access, joined with the volume of information available at a click, unquestionably fascinates every connected person. Information accessed through these avenues contribute to the capacity building at such level as self-help skills, social skills, work-related skills, and general problem solving through provision of solutions to simple and or very serious questions. These technologies have been put in place in other parts of the world, and I'm sure that all that we need is some strategic alignment, and we can also do the same. In China today, they are developing what they call smart classrooms. And smart classrooms, a teacher can be, or a classroom can have students from all across China keying into a classroom for a lecture. So it becomes a classroom without boundaries. This student may access this classroom instruction from their dormitories, from their restaurant, wherever they are. They can be in this smart classroom. And why one would not say that we can jump to get there, but I know we have the technological manpower, know-how, to be creative, in providing accessible and qualitative education for our people. The other areas where we can also look at the social media, so rethinking and repurposing online Igbo communities. There's no question that there are so many Igbo communities that are either on WhatsApp, on Facebook, other social media platforms, and in their different ways, they are serving different purposes and different needs, which are quite commendable. But one thing that we have not done well, how we can now expand and coordinate all these various entities into one global, formidable, project-oriented team. And I know that Hannes Ndibo has been working and trying hard in this direction. And it's something that must be commended, and more effort needs to be put in those areas. So it is important that we begin to align our resources wherever we can find them to solve our unmet needs. The other area where we can apply social media is increasing political mobilization among the Igbo population. Social media networks are increasingly becoming a critical component of civic engagement, an ideal mode of communication. They generate visual discourse among friends, acquaintances, groups with similar aspirations, and with whoever shares one's common interest. There is no gainsaying that the fact that various social media networks have helped people perform the crucial function of keeping in touch with people from around the world. They also connect with distant others, including leaders and policymakers who are otherwise not easily reachable by any other means. So the social media is crucial for the political mobilization and development of Igbo land. And some of you or some of us who are on social media, or some of you on Twitter, you'll find out that sometimes some of our political leaders or social influencers, you cannot make an appointment to see them in the office, and you are lucky. But easily on social media, you can engage these people and make some headway in advocating for a cause or the other. All social media can be applied in expanding the frontiers of a social mobilization. This is the process of bringing together allies to raise awareness of and demand for a particular program to assist in the delivery of the resources and services, and to strengthen community participation for sustainability and self-reliance. Such allies include decision and policymakers, like I mentioned earlier, opinion leaders, NGOs, such as professional and religious groups. The media, the private sector generates dialogue, negotiation, and consensus, engaging a range of players in interrelated, uncomplementary efforts, taking into account the need of people across different cultural bounds. Ndibo can leverage on the social media for such social mobilization. Other areas that this can also be very viable is in deployment of social media, for Igbo economic growth. In an increasingly connected world, the public's demand for quick, concise updates on pressing issues grows every day. Just a decade ago, government agencies and communities did not use social network to engage with the public. Many platforms did not exist, and those that did were used for social interaction alone. But that has changed. Social media networks have become a legitimized form of communication that strengthens connections between public sector entities and the constituents they serve. The United States government, through the Trade and Development Agency, has deployed the social media to maximum effect to promote economic growth. Igbo communities within and outside Nigeria can also employ the social media in this manner to drive our internal and external economic growth. I will say, like mentioned earlier, that various small groups of Igbo origin abound everywhere, whether be it on WhatsApp, on Facebook, or other social media, and they do serve some good purpose that can continue to expand. Again, put together a global strategy for moving our economic frontiers will be one thing that we can explore for these various entities. Increasing accessibility to healthcare service in Igbo land is also another veritable area where we can use social media. It is now a known fact that the social media is assisting in no small measures improving accessibility to healthcare services and in particular counseling. Available evidence shows that this is more so for less complex procedures. If it is given that health is wealth, then we must take the health of our people seriously. And one way of keeping people informed of new trends in the medical field is through the social media. We cannot develop without a healthy population. Therefore, the use of social media to inform and educate our people in this area cannot be overemphasized. Again, everything that we talked about here means there's going to be a unified strategy, overarching strategy that gives every Igbo entity, human being, a direction. We already have a general direction when it was Akurulo. Akurulo, I don't know who framed it, but it's an overarching an overarching strategy that So Akurulo, whoever phrased it, I think has given us at least a basic framework from which to deploy all other sub-strategies and tactics to maximize and invigorate the development of Igbo land, including the healthcare sector. In a country as polarized as Nigeria with multifaceted problems, our people need the skills of health professionals as well as their experiences and expertise to give vital information necessary for the people to take good decisions concerning their health. The other area is using the social media for technology transfer. The internet has become so integrated to such an extent that new innovations are daily emerging on the internet. This is one way the transfer of technology can occur. The Igbo are very innovative people, and the guided application of social media could be one sure way of assessing and applying new technologies for the development of Igbo land. Going into conclusion, in this presentation, we have tried to examine the issue of social media, human capacity development, and deploying social media for the development of Igbo land. The thesis of this paper is that through the social media, though the social media is not a new phenomenon, but it has become so revolutionized in our time in such a way that it has altered the way we communicate. Despite the usual criticisms of social media, there is no gainsaying that the fact that its impact on human capacity development is enormous, especially in its interactivity capacity to build virtual communities and real-time reportage of issues. Basically, the social media has created several avenues for better and more functional human capacity building mechanisms, and to that extent can contribute to the development of society. It was based on this foregoing that we examined how the social media can be deployed in the development trajectory of Igbo land. And we have noted that if the social media is constructively used by our people, it can be of great value in developing education in Igbo land, help in creating an integrated virtual Igbo community around the world, recalibrate our political and social mobilization processes, help in economic growth, access to healthcare services, and even driving transfer of technology. To that extent, we cannot but agree that social media is relevant to the development of Igbo land. I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was a fantastic lecture, and you know, a lot of new insights, and there's a lot that you have powered through in, you know, record time. So, Prof, we want to thank you for your insights. We want to thank you for sharing your scholarly insights, and you have raised a lot of important, you know, issues. You've talked about some of the native strengths of the Igbo man, of Igbos, with ingenuity and creativity. You talked about the innate capacity that Igbos have shown the world over to build a homeland and also to build other homelands outside their own homeland, and the range of capacity that Igbos can teach wherever they find themselves. And we went into the strength of social media, and the various platforms, and of course the weaknesses that are being raised with regards to government and regulation of social media, and the more recent things we are seeing around the world trying to curb governmental engagement has failed in the past, where most political leaders were clearly unavailable to their constituents. But with the onset of social media, it's possible to actually engage with them to an extent, because they also want to engage with their people, and it can be done on a virtual basis. You talked about use in education with smart rooms as well, and of course issues around healthcare access and counseling and mental health services that have become very rife on social media, and in fact it's good to see for most people who need these services, and need to expand them, because for us to have health is well, but these days health is everything, and actually build a healthy population, of course, you build into technology transfer, which I think is one area that a lot of young people continue to leverage social media for, by interacting with their peers in other parts of the world, to learn some of the new technologies that may be used or being applied in those parts of the world. I think it has been a fantastic one, and we are all applauding you. So thank you very much for the wonderful lecture. We have been speaking for about an hour, and as health professionals and expecting to understand regulations, we want to encourage everybody to stand up for and stretch.